welcome back everybody to WCS America Premier League round of 32 Group E, as we are getting ready for our second series of the day. It is going to be between HuK and Revival. We just saw our first PvZ of the day, Nate. Didn't go that well for our North American Protoss, but still plenty of room for him to bounce back, as of course we are using the format where two players will advance, and even if you lose your first best of 3, no man overboard, you still have to do the same thing as you did at the start of the day, and that is win 2 best of 3s.
Yeah, it's still anybody's group at this point. REM will await the loser of this coming series, and I feel like this series, when you look at the achievements, the prestige of both of these players, it's a little bit closer between the two of them. You've got Revival, who had some good results last year, made some deep runs in WCS. We kind of know him to be one of those guys that can consistently make it deep into WCS America, and HuK, well, he's HuK. Anybody that follows the American StarCraft scene knows who HuK is, the Canadian-American who's had several deep tournament runs of his own, finished top 16 in Season 1, but didn't quite get there in Season 2.
No, and it's actually funny because these two guys have played against each other twice this year. Both times it happened in WCS. The first time they met up against each other was in that round of 16 of Premier League in Season 1. Back then, Revival was able to beat HuK 2-0. I think this is going to happen a couple of times. With the two Protoss, with the two Zergs, it's easy to mix them up. But Revival was able to defeat HuK in WCS America Premier League Season 1, round of 16, 2-0. And he was also able to do the same thing again. But back then it was Season 2, and that was online in the round of 32. So here we are again, Revival versus HuK. Chapter 3, Season 3, third best of 3 of the year. Let's see if HuK is able to redeem himself for those previous losses. But it's going to be difficult, as Revival is a very strong Zerg to go up against. Especially in this matchup, in my opinion.
Yeah, strong is one way to put it. He's been a Titan for sure. And this guy, he wants to be at least, we've had a much better showing so far from our non-Korean players, particularly our North Americans, with the player Neeb already out in the first group to the round of 16. He would like to join him as a fellow American. In the bottom right, the blue Protoss player from Evil Geniuses, he is HuK.
It's a feat that HuK has accomplished a couple of times already, but it's never easy. He has been part of Premier League every single season, and that's pretty much an achievement on its own, not just this year, but last year as well. So it's impressive to see HuK always being a steady force. Even when he didn't make it out of the round of 32, he always bounced back, and he shows that this is a league where he belongs in. And he's definitely, without a doubt, one of the strongest Protoss players in North America. Yeah, it's hard to say if he's the strongest or not, because I think PuK is so good as well.
I mean, when we look at North America and you say who are the top representatives from each race, you really think of just a couple guys that usually bounce off of each other. And for Protoss, I say HuK and PuK, and there's not really anybody else that touches them just yet as far as results go in WCS.
No, I agree with you. I think HuK and PuK, I think in this matchup in particular, I would prefer PuK, as PuK is so incredibly good in PvZ. However, HuK is very good in PvP and definitely has his moments in PvT as well. And he's not bad in PvZ. However, Nate, we're going to have to do this introduction quick, because this is Revival, who is our Korean Zerg player. And that's not because I don't want to spend a lot of time on Revival, because I do. But it's a Forge opening, guys. It's pylon on the low ground. Forge on the low ground.
Rev up those cannons.
Now, I know you've been watching Wiedemin's stream this morning, Nate.
Yeah, I was watching Wiedemin's stream. I was watching In Control stream. I got my cannon fixed.
Alright, so HuK is going to go all out with it. Even with the second probe making his way across the map, I believe that HuK can make this work, because it's just a matter of time before you find a sweet spot. And he's going to try to get that second probe in.
Oh, that's such a good spot to lock the cannon down in. Getting the surface area for the drones is going to be incredibly difficult now.
Good cancel there as well.
Yep, forcing those drones to nibble on until the bitter end. And I don't think he's going to be able to finish this hatchery.
Oh my god, there's so many cannons going up, and now Revival's like, hey, that's a few too many for my liking.
It's like, you know what? You can have it.
I wonder how many HuK will cancel. If he's going to cancel 4 or 5, I would cancel these 3 for sure.
If it was me.
Oh, look, he has a drone strap. That's so sick.
Oh, wow. That's actually really sick.
It's just a single one.
I was gonna say, if it was me, man, I just let all the cannons finish and then 4-gate.
Alright, so guys, this is a successful opening, and it's also something that worries me a little bit for Revival's point of view, Nate, because Revival has not done his homework on HuK. if he goes hedge first on King Sejong Station, because I think in the last 5 PVZs that I've casted HuK on King Sejong, it's always been piling on the low ground followed up by the Forge. It's just kind of his way of opening on this map. And if there's no hedge first, no big deal for HuK. He just goes Nexus first. Definitely doesn't sweat it.
And this cannon too, right? With the probe on hold position. This cannon should finish before the Zerglings arrive. I think worst case scenario,
I'd like
4
to warp
Lings
him
get
in.
in.
I would like to warp him a pylon. Pylon HuK, he doesn't have money for it.
Well, the probe
Still,
gives its life to
temporarily,
save the base. I mean, you lose a probe, but I don't think he needs to finish that pylon either. I think he's okay.
Well, no, I think he can let it finish. Okay, you're right.
Does he need that for it to be a wall with 1 Zealot? Because I don't know if that 1 Zealot has broad enough shoulders to block that.
No, I don't think the Zealot has been lifting that much that he can fill up this entire space. Zealot has
needs to get them gains, get that protein, man.
Zealot has been skipping legs day, that's why. They squeeze through the legs. Alright, there's a probe scout as well in the main base. HuK sees, alright, well, he tried to see something, but it's hard to scout against 2 queens. But he did see there were 2 queens. He also saw that this extractor wasn't taken yet. And actually, this game is going to play out normal from this point on. However, Revival's, of course, going to have so much less larva to work with than a Zerg player normally has, and that's going to limit his options. Now, what is HuK going to do? HuK can definitely just keep a little bit of pressure on with gateway units, but there's a thin line in between.
He starts Warp Gate and cancels it, and so he can get his Stargate out a little bit more quickly.
I don't mind seeing the Stargate at all, because Stargates will always deal economic damage, like unless there is 2 spores every base, but even that is damage, because hey, that means that your opponent is using his drones for spore crawlers rather than mining. And Revive was already going to be more broke than he normally is, so slowing his economy down even further, which is guaranteed to happen with a Stargate, is smart. Eventually, Revive is going to have to slow his own economy down even further, because hey, he needs units to deal with this fight, and otherwise Zealots can be warped in all the time and run into the main base. And that would be a very bad scenario, so I really dig the Stargate play from HuK. I think it's so smart.
Yeah,
right
Revival not starting Speed or a Roach Warren definitely leaves me a little bit concerned, because making any dedicated effort to get rid of those cannons is going to become more difficult as HuK gets more units that can actually get out on the map. And as you said, as these gateways finish up, so shall Warp Gate. And that's not a situation where, as a Zerg player, you want your queens to be chasing oracles, because it's about as direct a path as you're going to get for a Zealot Warp in this early in the game.
Okay, we do see 2 spore crawlers go down in each mineral line, so even without scouting it, Revival has a very good idea that he's playing against this target.
I still think with the path, though, between the main and the natural, like, that Oracle just sits there and you can't rally any more drones out of your base, right?
Yep, and where are you going to take your next base, and where it's going to be easy to stabilize. So
yeah, he's even got a Zealot in here to help distract the Queen while he runs into the side. Well, he's...
drones.
Yeah, well, I guess the Queen actually does a pretty decent job still. But he kills some Zerglings, he kills some stuff. But guess what? Warp Gate's almost done.
Yep. I'm not sure if I want him to warp in Zealots immediately, because right now Revive is going to fire up Roaches. He's going to start his speed upgrade as well. I actually do not think that warping in gateway units over here is a good idea now, unless it was a straight up 8 gate and he really rushed to it, but he didn't do that because, you know, he took the Stargate as well. HuK is going to take a 3-base approach, which I think is the smartest decision here. That's definitely the best call. But there's one thing, Nate, that he does need, and that is a robotics facility as soon as possible.
Yeah, and with the roaches coming out.
Revive is going to scout this. He's like, cool. Going to make nothing but
Revival's
roaches.
roaches are actually just going straight across the map.
Yep. Because you'd be surprised how many... okay, this actually could work out.
Yeah.
Because, like, HuK can lose this base.
Leaving.
Yep. But then the Zealots might be able to do some serious work.
Does he realize what's going on here?
No. HuK doesn't know yet. The Revival doesn't know yet either. Both players don't know. It's Scotty versus Scotty over here.
It's like, well, this is awkward.
It's going to work out great for HuK, because Revival is going to turn around. And it's going to actually send the majority of his roaches back. These Zealots will do some serious work.
Man. He's going to town on these workers, and even if he doesn't kill a lot of them, they're still going to be able to run and deny mining. And now he's got a Void Ray, which basically says Void Rays laugh in the face of roaches.
Yep, especially because not all of the roaches were here. Like, that single Void Ray would have not been enough to save this Nexus if all roaches were here. Like, there are 23 roaches on the map.
What?
What? HuK cancels the base?
What?
And he sees all the roaches here. Maybe he feels like there's no way he can ever protect it, but I'm a little bit shocked by that as well.
I'm not sure I understand that. I don't know.
Maybe it's a misclick?
To me, HuK's the kind of guy that would try to hold on to a base like that, so it has to have been a misclick. I
mean...
I don't know how to feel about that. because he doesn't have enough gateways to really do anything other than just retake that base.
Like,
which
even
he
if
still has to deal with the roaches.
Yeah, and even if those roaches would suicide on the Nexus,
Now the roaches, like the
Now
Nexus
you-
is low enough in health because it just got restarted that the roaches actually could deny it.
yeah, it must be a misfit plan, because otherwise, indeed, it doesn't add up at all. Voidra is actually going to be able to snipe these 6 roaches before this Nexus dies, so that's a really good start of this fight. Now additional roaches come in, but the Revival is going to end up losing so many of these roaches, a few more than he would have lost if he would have sent all of them there immediately. At the same time, HuK hold is natural without any issues at all. He has 2 cannons, he has force fields, has a photon overcharge if he really needs it. What an interesting little bizarre game.
Yeah, bizarre is one way to put it, as Revival at the 12.5-minute mark has still not been able to secure, well, he hasn't been able to actually start mining off of his 3rd base yet. I'm just going to call his natural as start at this point because it's been so long.
So he's going to get Hydralisk upgrades. I would love to see HuK get a Robo Bay, because I do not feel that the Revival has the economy to fire up a hive or start a hive and then like also get Vipers out. It's just a little unlikely. So there we do see that Robo Bay go down. I think that's the perfect decision for HuK. That makes a lot of sense. And I like things that make a lot of sense for Protoss Brothers, Nate.
Yep. Void Rays, ready to deny, and it actually feels really weird to see a Zerg player and a Protoss both hit 3 base at the same time. Like, as weird as this game has played out, is economically speaking, I like HuK's position a lot. The question is, of course, whether or not
Can he defend
Revival,
the first Hydra push, though?
Yeah, the first Hydra push is going to be the most crucial point in this game because that robotics
Yeah.
bay is not yet complete.
Yeah, army supply, it definitely looks a little tricky. Normally this is perhaps not that bad, but HuK doesn't have that many very hard-hitting units in his army. He has 2 Immortals, that's awesome. He has 2 Void Rays, that's okay-ish. But he needs good force fields. I would have loved to see him stand over here, by the way, Nate. Because now these Hydras are going to stream down the ramp. HuK does have 2 time warps to work with. He does have force fields. He can actually zone out a couple of roaches now. That's oh, what beautiful force fields by HuK. I hate to use the cliche, but there's really no other thing to it.
Yeah, that was getting him a second layer of this donut, and now he's well, these Hydras are tucked in, and he's trying to kiss goodnight to them as he continues to peel apart this force, keeping this 3rd base alive, and Revival's not really investing into economy for his 3rd base.
Good micro by HuK as well, saves the Immortal, swings back, blinks forward with the Blink Stalkers, and suddenly...
That was a beautiful engagement for HuK.
We-
That could have gone wrong so fast.
Yep. If he messes up one time there and enough Hydra squeeze through and there are roaches to buffer a little bit, even when there are Immortals in the mix, 18 Hydralisk against a non-Colossus army can do terrible things to Protoss players. However, that wasn't the case. HuK, of course, does have a nice upgrade advantage, but that went fantastic for HuK. And before, Nate, I wasn't 100% sure if I was digging HuK's position all that much. Like, yes, Revival's economy was slow. He was only a 3-base Zerg, but HuK's stack was a little late as well. There were no Colossus yet. It could have been tricky, but HuK made it through that phase in the game without any issues at all. He lost a few sentries, sure, but if we take a look at the units lost resource tab, this has been a game where both players had an even economy. Revival losing almost 4,000 resources more in a game like this, that's massive.
Yeah, this is a great spot to be in for HuK because Revival doesn't have any tech out yet to deal with a dedicated Colossus push. Not to say that HuK has to push soon, but you know, this infestation pit's not going to be done for their 15, 20 seconds, and then he needs 100 seconds to get his hive, and then you need another 30 or so seconds to get out your Vipers, and then Viper's got energy, and you can kind of see where I'm going here, that Revival needs a bit of time to get himself ready for, you know, whatever HuK could bring.
Yep. And I think above all, when HuK is sitting steady on 3 bases...
Versus a 3-base Zerg.
Yeah, he's in a very good position, and he knows how to deal with this as well. He also already has those beloved +2 Blink Stalkers. He's scouting actively with his hallucinated Phoenixes. He's going to see the hive timing now. I wonder if this is going to trigger some sort of a pre-hive attack, which is possible. While he is moving out, I definitely don't mind this move at all, Nate.
I love this.
Yeah, he has all the pieces in the right place. He's gonna have
hit
+3.
before hive. What does Revival do? Roach Hydra is not a bad army, but against this, it's almost trash.
Yep. Well, yeah, it is. You can might as well just wrap it up. Put it in the trash.
Double bag this one because it's going to be messy.
Couple of roaches will take the first shots from this HuK army. This is not the best engagement for HuK because the sentries are in the back, but it doesn't really matter. He has so much DPS in his army. Time Warp goes down as well. These Immortals are going ham. The Voiders are doing some serious damage, and above all, The Colossus are raining down the fire from the skies. It seems like impossible that Revival is going to be able to defeat this army. He does start 20 roaches, doesn't cancel his fourth base, by the way. And there's only one Immortal left in his army, and it's very low on HP. So these roaches can be a little scary. But HuK has such an upgrade advantage as well. The Stalkers have Blink. He's going to leave the Colossus exposed, so that's a little bit unfortunate, but I don't think it matters. He has too much.
Yeah, he's just got too many forces. GG. HuK takes the first game against Revival in what was certainly a very, I don't know if I want to say back and forth, but it was a bit intense. He's opened up with the cannon rush. Revival did his best to stop it, but eventually you see 5 photon cannons building at once. You're like, man, I don't have enough drones to hit all these things before they finish.
And this really goes back to what I said in the start of the game. I'm a little bit surprised that Revival hasn't done his homework for such an important day like this, because I remember, just like off the top of my mind, like 5-6 games in a row on King State Young Station, HuK has gone pylon on the low ground with the Forge. And you know, if he can't cannon rush the Zerg, then he just doesn't cannon rush. He just goes Nexus first. But obviously, if you can, he's gonna go with it, and he's gonna find himself in a pretty okay position, because it's very, very difficult to stop a cannon rush when you go hatch first. If you pull crazy amount of drones and you have them on patrol in like 4 different spots to make sure that one cannon can never really get tucked back far enough, then it's doable. But you have to pull so many drones that it almost gets scary for your own economy, that even if you stop it, you're like, well, I did stop it, but now I can't even start my queen because all my drones were fighting and I have like 0 money.
Well, I mean, you also consider that even with that initial cannon placement, a couple of those drones got locked in. Man, that was like...
Yeah, just a single one, but it was cute.
Yeah.
For a second, it looked like they were stacked. I was like, oh my god, if he actually got like 4 drones there.
I've seen it. I've seen it. I see the old Maximus bait. He's like, oh, he's got my cannon. He's got my cannon. Drops the gateways. Like, yeah, one building to block them all.
I saw that just the other day. That was actually...
I mean, 150 minerals for a gate is worth all the drones.
Especially because you can cancel the gate anyway, so...
Yeah. It's like, once all those drones are dead, it's like, huh?
It was that was a sick play by Maximus Black. As you guys can see, we watch all the high-level streams out there. Meanwhile, like Jaydong and like meanwhile Jaydong and what's the best pros play that streams? I guess Liquid Hero is one of the highest.
He's streamed. We haven't actually had too many crazy Protosses.
No Zest, no Rain.
I'll give my love to Jaydong. I saw Jaydong open hatch first, hold a 6 pull with drones, and he did it like only with drones. Like he actually beat his 6 pull drones, just pure drones. It was pretty sick.
But it's funny because Nate has the choice between Liquid Hero, Jaydong, and then Wiedemins and Maximus Black.
Okay, they don't stream at the same times.
And Nate would always go for the cannon rushing streams.
It's fun to watch. It's fun to watch what their opponents say when the games end.
It's a little bit of guilty pleasure. Hey, I'm not denying. I've watched so much MB actually.
The thing is, as much as I talk about cheese, I never 2-racks myself. I never proxy Reaper. So like, I need to vicariously.
But you mind drop every single game.
Is pressure. I like to vicariously cheese through the people I watch play StarCraft.
Pressure when you're 24 workers behind if Protoss goes up to quick 3 bases and you don't deal damage. Real pressure there.
I don't know what you're talking about, Ryan.
Alrighty, game number 2 is live. It is going to be played on Nimbus as we're having some fun. Hopefully you guys are having fun as well. Keep them tweets coming. Hashtag WCS. The majority of you peeps at home have picked Violet to win this group. 47% of everybody on ESL Fantasy has predicted Violet to win this group. I put my money on Revival, but it's starting to look a little dicey, Nate, as Revival is currently down 0-1, as he is, of course, a red Zerg player, spawning on the left bottom side of Nimbus. I had a hard time picking between the Revival and Violet, though. Like, they are the 2 favorites on paper. I truly believe that one of the 2 Protoss players can advance, whether it's Arium or HuK. I think one of the 2 can advance. It's going to be difficult for either of them, no doubt. But I think it's possible that it's 1 Zerg and 1 Protoss, but the Zerg brothers are the favorite in this one.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are just, they're almost too good when you look at it, and this guy's done a good job, though. I like him a lot, and I actually starting to like him in this series after just the control he displayed. You know, disregarding the early lead, you know, that was still a big opportunity for Revival to crush him with the Hydralisk push. From Evil Geniuses, he's up 1-0. He is HuK.
And perhaps the most beautiful moment in the game was created sort of by coincidence, but that's that he waited so long with those 4 Zealots. Because if he sends those 4 Zealots in immediately, or even 20 seconds before that, the Roaches are there. The Roach will receive him with open arms, will hug him, spit some acid at them, and you know the Zealots die. Then 25 Roaches run across the map, and everything just goes so much better for Revival. Instead, what happened is that HuK waited a little longer when he sent the Zealots in. Roaches had to retreat. A couple of Roaches still went on the aggressive, but those Roaches, they were not in high enough numbers to actually do the same amount of damage as 24 Roaches would have done, as Revival did have 24 Roaches on 2 bases.
Yeah.
But HuK just did a really good job in forcing Revival to split up his forces.
And when
instead
you think,
of,
I was thinking about that canceled base, and honestly, Revival didn't have his third up anyway, so I guess if you're HuK, you're like, you know, I know his third is so late. Better safe than sorry. I'd rather be a 2-base Protoss versus a 2-base Zerg.
Yeah, yes and no. Like, it was still, then, I think, not necessary, and even if he would have let the Nexus finish, if the Roaches want to suicide on it, go ahead. I have 2 charged Void Rays idling on top of it.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, like, I feel like from HuK's perspective, maybe he was a little bit nervous that Revival was going to be bringing more units than he actually thought, or than he saw.
Yeah, and I think that one thing that HuK definitely wants to avoid is to walk down the ramp with his sentry.
And get swarmed.
Yeah. Like, we've seen that happen too many times as a Protoss. You get too over-eager, you try to defend all bases when you perhaps didn't even have to.
I can defend this third with just 6 sentries in a Mothership Core.
It's like the forces are good, but nothing is dying.
2 Void Rays are nice, but they do actually need a little bit of time to kill all those Roaches.
Either way, it was a double hatchery before spawning pool opening, so Revival is not disencouraged at all after King Sejong Station. He's like, okay, 1 hatch before my pool didn't work, I should just drop another one. HuK scouts, he's going to see the fact that Revival went 3 hatch before pool. Revival, oh my god, HuK already added 3 more gateways. Nate, he's going to do what I love so much. He's going to 4-gate a Zerg that delayed his gas. However, both extractors go down at the 5-minute mark. That is still kind of quick, because often you see these extractors go down at 5 minutes and 40 seconds. However, from this point on, everything that matters, HuK's hope for the next few minutes in this game is on this little guy. You're the real MVP. I hope he's strong enough to lift the MVP trophy, because this guy has to go undetected. And I wonder what HuK is going to warp in as well. Often I say, like, go for Stalkers, go for Stalkers. But then HuK always, like, it's like, nope, warps in for Zealots. So I'm like 90% sure.
Pretty fast Roach Warren as Revival is starting to catch some fishiness. He sees Warp Gate's already done. He sees 2 of the gateways turning in the main base of HuK.
He's gonna produce Roaches, but Roaches off creep can actually not deal with Stalkers. Not in this phase in the game. The creep tumors are so important. Revival's already going to pull the drones and he's gonna wait. I think HuK will be able to get this hatchery. He forces to cancel on the spine. That's on the
tumor.
On the
that
tumor.
Is
That's
nice.
very
Catching
nice.
this queen. These Zealots trying to body block.
Okay, now, but HuK doesn't know yet that Roaches are on the way. And if he wipes in 4 more Zealots, that's exactly what he does if Revival is scouted. Like, I think HuK's gonna kill this base. But he's also, if he goes all the way, it's good enough so far. Just killing
if
this
he
base.
kills this and then recalls before the Roaches kill everything, then he's still got something he can work with.
Exactly.
But these queens would love to get that Mothership Core.
Yeah, also, the Zealots would love to get the queens. Oh, he gets one! 6 around.
Nice.
Man, this queen is hating on the other queen with her fat ass so much right now.
Whoa, that time warp. I think that was a bit ambitious of HuK. All these Zealots are pretty much checked in for life now.
Yeah, he gets a queen, but this is the phase in the game where I feel that the Roach count is high enough, and all these Zealots will die without achieving all that much. But HuK, he didn't even build that many probes.
I like that he peels the Zealot off. He gets at least 2 drone kills for his money's worth.
Yeah, and he got 2 queens. That's nice, because now this Mothership Core can harass drones. Yeah! And of course, above all, this is a 2-base Zerg, so don't get us wrong, guys. This is very good for the Protoss regardless. However, the game is not over yet. It's an awesome opening for HuK. He needs to start getting his own economy going at home. But getting both queens there for those Zealots, I would almost even say, Nate, that's still worth it. Because in the end of the day, you know, how good are Zealots really anyway in this matchup?
The resources lost is pretty even, but the queens have another tangible benefit aside from supply and resources. It's the injects, the creep spread, and of course the anti-air defense to defend those few drones that the Mothership Core is able to kill. I think if he doesn't get those 4 drone kills, I'm a little bit more concerned, but he gave him just enough of a kick in the shins to basically say, yeah, you can't just counterattack me, I've got enough.
Couldn't agree more. The 4 drones and the 2 queens, I would probably trade my Zealots for that, because, you know, if he recalls, he saves the Zealots. It's awesome, but, you know, what are the Zealots going to do at home? Up to the point where you have charge, they're really not that great. They just fill up supplies, so you're going to need your pilots quicker. I think that was an okay sacrifice for HuK in the long run, and of course, above all, it was mission accomplished because he cancelled this hatchery. It's really funny because they had this game on Frost in WCS America Season 1, which was the exact same opening, the exact same scenario, and back then the third base was over here on the left side of Frost, and HuK wipes in all those Zealots, and back then he didn't get the hatchery, and well, that's where things got really dicey, because then Revival was still on 3 bases, got enough roaches out on time. This time Revival didn't get the roaches out on time, and HuK was able to kill the hatch, and he got the queens, he got the drones. Much better start. These two guys seem to be pretty stubborn and truly believe in their openings. Revival knows that HuK is capable of doing that, unless, you know, he's just forgot, but I do not think that you forget a series played in a round of 16 of Premier League. And HuK knows that Revival is capable of dealing with it, but still believes that if he does things better, he can get the result that he's hoping for. And he got it this game. He's going to march across the map as well, Nate, with just a one Immortal follow-up. Tiny bit surprised by this one.
Yeah, he drops the cannon behind on the way out. And this is going to be a bit interesting. I don't think with a single Immortal you have the firepower you need, but if he gets good force fields, anything can happen. There is creep spread, though.
Yeah, there is one Immortal now. So first we had the Probe that was a real MVP. This time it's the Immortal.
Killing those rocks also really helped Revival out, because now it takes, like, what? It takes 3 force fields to block that, or 2 perfect
really
ones.
good point. It's so important that Revival started working on this debris. Otherwise,
a single force field would lock him out. Yeah, now he has to move into this really awkward place where he's so far from any type of reinforcements. He's got to basically try to kill some stuff and then recall.
If he drops force fields over here, Nate, there is a chance that he can get the hatchery. So force fields are going down everywhere. The sentries are getting really exposed, though.
I'm a little bit worried with how close he tucked himself into these roaches, but I like that he force fielded the ramp on the right side, because there's so many more forces trying to move in through there. The Immortal's still alive,
recall.
There's not a lot of force fields left. Recall that Immortal. His life flashed before his eyes.
Literally, he's like, hey, what happened to my shield? I had a fancy blue shield, and now it's gone.
I had a shield. The warp-in started. Didn't have a shield. Yeah. Still got home.
Man, last night was crazy. Man, I had this dream we were fighting roaches on the left side and the right side.
I lost all my shields, and then I just woke up.
Either way, there are 17 more drones on the way for Revival, who is looking for an opportunity to counterattack. You know, even though HuK lost all the sentries there, he slowed the economy down of Revival once more.
And now with 2 Immortals, these roaches, man, they've got nothing.
Nope, 3 Immortals even. So not a good hold here by HuK.
Immortal derping on the force field on the ramp. His little wiggling legs.
Like a dog that's getting really excited to go to the park. And Revival knows. Right now it's like, okay,
I can't fight him head-to-head now. Time to break out the swarm hosts.
Exactly. He needs a unit that's going to buy him time, that's not going to die against Blink Stalkers and Immortals, that as soon as this third base is up and running for HuK and he feels steady at home, he has a few more gateways to work with, that he's going to attack. Revival needs to buy time, and swarm host is the only option.
We've seen HuK be one of those guys that's willing to push into lower numbers of swarm hosts. Is there a chance that he tries to seize an opportunity to just shatter this defense before Revival drags this game out another 20 minutes?
There is a chance he's going to try. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I think if HuK scouts once, if he hallucinates a Phoenix now, actually he just did, there we go, HuK, and he sees this, I think he's going to drop a Robo Bay immediately and a second robotics facility, but we'll already start moving out and try to make stuff happen with just force fields. Come on, it's really important. Okay, Phoenix sees the swarm house. That's pretty much all you have to see. So I think if I know my HuK, I say Robo Bay, second, Robo Bay, second robotics facility.
You're inside of HuK's head, Rotterdam.
HuK and me, man, what can you say? We're real close. And like HuK likes to try to pick swarm hosts apart with just running around with Blink Stalkers, snipe creep tumor, snipe, has to be careful. Snipe base. Above all, HuK needs to push this creep back. This has to be like his first priority now in the near future, because you don't want to defend against. Okay, I like this.
Oh, the War Prism is actually a great choice. There's absolutely nothing in the main base of Revival to defend, and Zerglings are going to come out, but against +1 Zealots, not terribly effective.
Excellent choice here by HuK.
Kills the Queen too.
Yeah, and it's going to keep Revival off his back for now, and that's the most important thing. This is a great moment for these Stalkers to snipe a creep tumor.
Does he have an observer nearby? Is he gonna try to...
He has one above his little Stalker squad.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, he's got this War Prism on top of the Storm
Imagine
house.
if these were High Templars with Storm.
I would say if you had an observer, you probably could have picked 1 or 2 swarm hosts off.
he's
Oh,
gonna
now the
try.
stalkers. Oh, this is actually brilliant. I really wish if those stalkers were able to move in just a little bit sooner. He gets a creep tumor, but I'm just imagining if that war prism draws everything over and then he just drops on the swarm host. Look at this. He's already on the right side to deny this next hatchery from being placed too.
Yeah, excellent move. The excellent use of the War Prism over here. HuK is keeping Revive on 3 bases.
I'm really impressed with HuK's play today.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's
super clean.
It's very, very clean indeed. This is just phenomenal play by him all around. There are still a lot of roaches with Tunnel and Claws. Revival is such a good Zerg that he always finds somehow money to work with. But if HuK gets 2 Colossus out, he's good. He's out of the woods. If he gets 4 Colossus out, I think he's in an excellent position.
Great pickoff for Revival, getting that Warp Prism. The Roaches are able to defend the 3rd base, but there's still a lot of forces here, and with the Observer, these Burrowed Roaches shouldn't be able to do too much. However, those Locusts, they're chewing away. First Colossi being out. First Colossus.
HuK lost quite a few units over there, though. He's starting to dwindle a little bit in supply, which is the only thing I'm worried about. But he does have those 2 Colossus now. They're so important. HuK has to make sure he doesn't lose any additional units, at least not units that matter. Don't lose the sentries. Ends up losing one of them. With 4 Colossus, I think HuK can start wrapping in stocks again and then start thinking about being aggressive.
I'm starting to get worried, man. This Swarmhouse container has actually done a really good job in Revival. He's actually very quickly moved up to Hive. He's already got 3 Vipers on the way.
Yeah, I'm worried as well if it wasn't for the fact that HuK has done such a good job in shutting the economy down of Revival. If Revival was on 4 bases, Nate, then I'd be truly worried. Here we go, another gateway explosion. HuK is gonna move out soon. He has 4 Colossus. Then now he's not that afraid anymore of the Swarmos. There are only 12 of them anyway. 4 Colossus is okay to deal with that. 6 Colossus is going to absolutely wreck 12 Swarmos. So HuK still has a very good chance in winning this game. Vipers will complicate things.
Mothership Core is like, oh, let's kill some of these Hydralisks, though. It's actually a pretty big pickoff. He really needs that Mothership Core, and he immediately begins to rebuild it.
Yeah, definitely not nice.
I don't think he was expecting the Hydralisk.
I wish he didn't lose the War Prism. The War Prism was so awesome.
That was like his ace in the hole there.
Hydra speed being fired up as well, but HuK's gonna move out real soon, Nate. His supply is he's gonna be pretty much maxed out. He's gonna have a crazy amount of stalkers.
But the Vipers are here. He needs to pick his next fight very carefully.
This is like one of those fights where I think HuK can even blink forward. As long as he kills the Vipers, he's gonna win the rest of the battle. Here come the Vipers. Abducts are used. There he does go with a forward blink, but Blinding Cloud being used. 6 execution of Revival, but there's still so much DPS in the army.
All the Colossi still stand. He's cleaned up the Roaches. He's cleaned up the Hydralisks. All that remain are a few Swarmos.
Gateways.
And he can blink forward. He can try to pick off additional ones of these. He's also going to shut down the creep spread, which means that if Revival even tries to siege him again, he's going to be in a great spot.
Oh, Vipers are exposed.
These are the cash money pickups. Dollar bill. He gets 1.
That's 2. Massive.
That's almost all you need, because picking off one of these Colossi when there's 7 of them, it's not really going to do anything.
Force fields are not going down. The Immortals are really exposed. This is not an ideal engagement for HuK, but it probably doesn't even matter because he has so much damage output in this army. He has +3 attack as well against only +1 armor Zerg units.
This Colossi eating everything that tries to leave the main, while the Stalkers pick off every single swarm host. HuK he's executed this game about as flawlessly as you really can. Some great play. Some Ducks like, okay, we got a free trip. Cool.
Got to see the extractor from close up.
You ever fly over an extractor, baby?
Yeah.
I've been places.
Got a selfie with it as well while we're at it. But in the end, HuK is going to start the day off with a small upset. We all know that he's capable of putting out results like that. But it's still like this, but it's still not easy as Revival is such a strong Zerg player.
What great play by HuK, though. You know, sometimes he's a little bit shaky here and there, but in a situation where things looked like they could get tough for him, the things he had done at the start of the game really secured that opportunity for him to break out of that contain. And that's something that's, I'd say, probably one of the most difficult things to do in Protoss versus Zerg. When you're contained by a swarm host, how do you get out without Vipers just wrecking you?
Yep. Now, HuK just had a lot of very good key moves in this game. It all started off with, it's so ironic that they had the exact same openings clashing up against each other in the WCS America Season 1. We go back 4 or 5 months, they played against each other in the round of 16. Exactly the same, but back then Revival was able to keep his hatchery alive. It didn't die, that made a huge difference. After that, the follow-up, you know, I was like, is he going to lose all the Zealots? He lost the Zealots, but he killed the Queens, killed a couple of drones in the process as well. Good little pickoff by HuK. Then in the mid-game, he moves out with that army with just 1 Immortal, and we both kind of like, is this enough? But HuK didn't even try to win the game there. HuK just wanted to make sure that he slowed Revival down even further while going up to 3 bases. Lost a few sentries too many, I guess, when he was pushed in the right bottom side. But it's okay.
Yeah.
Recalled out, went home, had 2 Immortals waiting there, so it's all good.
He took just enough of a trade for that to be okay to lose the sentries, because I had to say, like, that's that one moment where I wasn't sure, because we were talking about, you were saying, like, he can throw the force on the left side and cut the Zerglings away, and cut the Zerglings off of the Roaches, but he actually force field the Roaches in too. But the force field on the ramp above ground, because that flank from Revival, I think, would have absolutely annihilated HuK's army. Just really smart decision making, and I'm pretty damn impressed. Our lower bracket match, the next series we're going to have will be another Protoss versus Zerg. It's going to be Arium versus Revival.